Everyone has weaknesses. We all do. Sometimes we downplay the weaknesses or even ignore them. However, in the long run, these weaknesses can catch up to us and lead to bigger problems in the future. So let's be honest about them, admit that we have them, and the sooner we acknowledge and address these weaknesses, the better off we will be. Coming up, how to address your weaknesses. Hi, I'm Dr. Ken from Attract Freedom, and I help people get clear on what matters most. Welcome to Freedom Notes. And if you're coming back, welcome back to Freedom Notes. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe to this channel by clicking on that button below, and clicking on the bell icon. So that way, when I have more videos like this, you'll be the first to be notified. So let's get started. Weaknesses don't have to be a hindrance. Use these techniques to deal with your weaknesses. The first thing you want to do is to decide what your weaknesses actually are. Some of us have weaknesses that don't really matter. For instance, if you're not into sports, and that could be considered a weakness, but it doesn't matter to you and you don't care, then you don't have to bother about that because it's not going to affect you long term. So you need to decide what is a weakness and what is a strength. Everyone has weaknesses, but not everyone has weaknesses that matter to them. So in other words, you don't have to fix every single weakness that you have. But if your weakness is a big deal for you, then you should. So what you want to do here is consider your goals. And if the weaknesses will affect those goals, then you have a problem. If not, then don't bother about it. You're very fortunate. The second thing would be not to try to force something. Don't try to force yourself to be something that you're not. Work around your weaknesses by using innovative ways to compensate for your shortcomings. If you're terrible on the phone, utilize email. If you are speaking in front of a lot of people and you're nervous about it all the time, then practice in front of friends or join Toastmasters. And if you're short, get a ladder and put all the things that you want on the lower shelves. That way you don't have to worry about your shortness. It's just as simple as that. Adjust the situation or your environment to avoid those weaknesses. The third thing would be to build on your strengths. And what do I mean by that? Yes, you have strengths and you have weaknesses. Successful people focus on their strengths and suppress their weaknesses. They don't focus on what is lacking, they focus on what they have. If you build your life around your strengths, you will see a big difference and you'll be more successful than somebody who is building their lives on their weaknesses alone. So focus on your strengths. Develop a plan for becoming even better at the things you already do. The fourth thing would be to find a way to delegate. If you're not good at something, try to outsource whatever you're not good at. Because if you don't do that, you can meet up with challenges. It may be tough to admit that you need help. However, it's extremely important for you to take advantages of the resources available to you. If you know somebody who is good at something that you're not very good at, try to enlist their help. You will probably be surprised at how easy it is when you ask somebody to step in and do the job. You can't do everything, but you can do a lot of things with the help of friends. For instance, if you're terrible at cleaning your house, get a cleaner. If you're terrible at working on your taxes, get an accountant. And this is where that is my biggest weakness. I have suffered from it time and time again, and I still have to work on that. It's an Achilles heel of mine, working on my accounts. And if I don't work on them, I always inevitably get into trouble. So that is one thing I need to work on. Another thing is shyness. If you're very, very shy, and you don't want to be the one to speak on the phone, get a coworker to do it or get somebody delegated to somebody else. Don't feel like washing the dishes, get your kids to do it or get a cleaner. Think of all the things that you might be struggling with, where you might feel weak, and find somebody to help you. Utilize them. The fifth thing would be to work on fixing your weakness. If all else fails and there's nobody around to help you, you can't just stay there and be passive and do nothing. You got to do something. You might want to tackle the area that you're weak in head on. You might want to use this as motivation and apply all the relevant strategies. Look at this as an opportunity to become a jack of all trades. If you don't feel strongly about any subject, try to learn them anyway. Focus on what you need to do. Set a reasonable goal for yourself. Decide how good you need to be and make a plan to reach that level of expertise. Take it one step at a time. Work on being good enough. Another thing would be to get expert advice, because sometimes when all else fails, you need to call in the troops. Read books, hire a coach, take a class, whatever the issue is. you're going to be better off with some expert help. There's some things in life we simply cannot change. For example, some people have a genetic disposition to become seasick. We can't change that, but we can work around it and prepare so that we don't get seasick. Ideally, you should work on what you're good at instead of suppressing your weaknesses. However, there are times where you'll have to work on those weaknesses if you want to succeed. You can find ways to not do as much work than necessary. Weaknesses are the hardest part of ourselves to change. Focus on improving your strengths and design your life around those strengths. Then you'll enjoy the success you deserve. Quick question. What weaknesses are you struggling with? Please leave it in the comments below. I'd love to know. As always, you were born to make a difference. Set mind to purpose. You are more powerful than you think. Don't forget to watch my next video, helping you get clear on what matters most.